Welcome, Nevena. I'm so happy to have you here. How are you today?
Oh, hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm fine, actually, very excited to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you. I would like to start with your story. So, a few years ago or even more, how everything unfolded for you and why you are doing now what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I have to go back maybe to high school when it was the time when I realized, okay, I really love English. And I must say that I have always been in love with the English, but with not just with the language itself, but more with this idea what I can do
Mhm.
with English. I can travel, I can meet people, I can meet cultures. And then that's what basically uh, made me
Mhm.
go for it and study English in the first place. But eventually, when I enrolled at the Faculty of Philology in Belgrade, I was somehow surrounded by a lot of other people in my group who could speak great English, and I could speak great English at that time as well. But I lacked this courage to speak up in front of the group, and I had this huge stage fright. Every time I had to say something in English, I would blush and I would freeze, and my mind would go complete blank. Whenever I had to speak in front of my group, in front of my teachers, professors, and it was in the third year of my studies when I decided, okay, I need to change something about it. So I applied for my first volunteering experience, and I went to Italy to work in a summer camp to teach English. And basically, I was the only person from Serbia. So I was working in a team with like 20 other nationalities. So English was my only way and my only tool to get the message across, to teach, to tell people where I come from, and to meet others. And that's when I realized, okay, this is what English is for. It's actually a tool to get the job done. And this is how I can live the life to the fullest. So, what would happen if I helped others, have this feeling, this freedom? And what if I can help them speak English without any mistakes? So, eventually, I somehow really liked the whole international experience. So my next step was going to Austria to an student exchange program, Alpen Adria University in Austria. And that was the place where my perception of English teaching and learning completely changed, because I had the chance to visit a school in which they used coaching tools and methodology generally in their curriculum. And I was impressed because the teacher wasn't the main person in the classroom anymore, but it was the students.
Mhm.
And there was a learner-led process, and I fell in love with coaching.
Mhm.
At that time, I wrote a research paper, and I came back to Serbia with this wish to be the change here and to show everybody in Serbia that language really is a tool and that we should use it in that way. So after that one, I went to another international volunteering experience to the Czech Republic, and that was the time, and I knew it for sure. I'm going to be an English teacher. At that time, I thought actually I was going to be an English teacher. I started working here in Serbia, and somehow I started holding business English courses for highly positioned business executives in large multinational corporations. And I noticed that it wasn't the standard English course that they needed, because they could understand everything. They could speak with me, but they couldn't express their true selves and their expertise in these situations when they had to impress somebody. And in these situations in which they were expected to speak
Mhm.
great English in front of colleagues, in front of, their partners, potential clients. And I was like, okay, there has to be something more than the
Mhm.
language, more than grammar, more than vocabulary. And I went back to coaching. That's let's see the shortest version of
In a
my
nutshell.
very beginning. In a nutshell, the beginning of my career, let's say.
I have to say that you are doing incredible job. And as well, English is not my native language either. So I'm very excited to have this conversation with you because for me, that was the main tool for everything that I have created. And as you did, I also was afraid at the beginning. But I want to share this beautiful energy with people because there is nothing to be afraid of. What I actually realized is that people who speak English as their first language are very happy to have a chance to speak with someone who actually makes an effort to speak their language, and that's very, very beautiful. You and I met on one of my workshops, and I'm very happy and thrilled that you actually joined me. And if you would like, I would share that you won one of my programs over there, and that is how we connected. But that was just the beginning. I think that we are just starting to create now, because what you just shared is a completely different approach for someone to learn English, which, as I mentioned in my case, was a game changer. You're doing that using coaching and coaching tools. So what is the difference between actually this methodology which you use and the classical learning of foreign language?
Well, basically, let's start with teaching then, and the basic course, just to explain this difference. What language teachers do, they work on the language. So they work on grammar, on vocabulary, different skills. They help their learners improve skills such as reading, writing, speaking, with the help of certain textbooks and materials and so on. But what language coaches do, we actually work around the language. We work on basically these internal psychological aspects that are often neglected in this language learning process, but are sometimes crucial, especially with adult learners. And what I mean when I say internal psychological aspects, I think of this inner talk, which is usually very negative in situations when we have to impress or speak in front of others, speak publicly. It's generally this negative self-evaluation, confidence, self-esteem, motivation, perfectionism, and mindset. Mindset actually in the first place. That's what we work around. But it's important to note that in language coaching, we do not exclude the language part. That's why it's language coaching. And of course, in order to get certified for language coaching, you need to be a language professional in the first place so that you can help your learners with some structures, language structures. So we do work on the language as well, if need be, when we see that our learners struggle with some structures and they want simply to improve their language. But I believe that there is, no grammar rule or no idiom that you can use unless your mindset is free to speak up. So first you need to work on this support, inner support, in order to be okay with it, to use that structure or whatever it is when the time comes for that.
When I was starting, I was so afraid that I wasn't publishing anything without the help of my editors, and especially I didn't record videos. I'm sharing this vulnerability because it's very important for people to understand what you are actually stressing here out. And one of my mentors back then told me, when I said that I'm afraid to go in public, obviously now I'm not, I'm everywhere, but this is the process of actually changing the mindset in every single aspect. He gave me an opportunity to record videos in his closed group where I had a lot of support, until I actually realized people really don't care if you make a mistake. They really do care about you. And this comes from the inner work. So this is why I believe your work is extremely important. It's not only about the language, it's much deeper, and limiting beliefs and all that we have needs to be transformed in order for us to grow. And thank you so much for sharing this. But if we dive a little bit deeper, with who you exactly work, who are the people you are supporting, and what are the results of working with you?
So I mainly work with founders, startup founders, entrepreneurs, and highly positioned business executives in large multinational corporations who actually have the knowledge of the language, but they have this problem, let's say, or struggle whenever they want to speak up in public. That's it. So what they get as a result, okay, language work, yes, but what they emphasize, what they highlight as the main thing they gained after finishing my 4-month program is the fact that they are okay with making a mistake in English. So they mostly go from fixed mindset in language learning context to growth mindset, and to understanding that their mistake in English does not define them as people, as individuals, as experts in their field. And that's the main thing. So that would be confidence, but I like to say that it's basically unlock mindset that they get, because they have the knowledge. They just get that feeling that they can use it after the program, language coaching program.
And everything is about mindset. People need to like dive deep into themselves and realize what are the limiting beliefs, why we feel the way we feel, why we think the way we think. And then, of course, I went through like 18 personal growth programs. We all go through that. So the work that you do is truly, truly important, because I believe we can learn any skill. But if we don't have abundance mindset and the mindset of growth, hardly anything will happen. Do you agree? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I agree. And yeah, it's a great deal of this personal development, because in language coaching, you don't only, as I said, work on your language, but we tackle things like growth mindset and this inner critique, inner mentor, a lot of different things. And what my learners also say, that's not our intention in the first place, but it affects other spheres in their life. So how they feel about success, how they feel about themselves generally, not just when they speak English. So that's exactly the thing that you have just shared.
I think we have the same mission, to help people to do what they love, and everything comes from within. So I also know that you created some of your own products, and you have your own brand. So would you like to share a little bit about that, and what kind of tools do you use when you work in the classroom?
Yeah, sure. Well, these physical products, actually, we call them My Language Notebook and My Language Journal, came again as a result of working with many business executives again in the first place. And I would say that's thanks to my skill that I have developed, and that's active listening. So the moment I started listening actively to my students and their needs, that was the moment when I created the products to help them learn the language effectively. So I created this language learning planner, which helps you organize the structures and everything we do in language lessons. And I also created a language learning journal, which helps you self-reflect at the end of every month. So apart from these two that I use in my virtual classroom, I also use coaching tools that I'm certified for. So starting with SMART goals, SWOT analysis, different coaching models such as GROW, OSCAR, and so on and so on. And I must mention that currently I'm being educated for cognitive behavioral coaching, which helps me, actually enables me help my clients deal with cognitive and emotional obstacles and a set of irrational beliefs that they might be fighting with in this language learning process as well. So it's a mix of everything, really. I really appreciate my freedom and the fact that I can create my programs, tailor-made programs, and that in the first place I can listen to my students and what people actually need, and then I can work with them in such a way.
But what is very interesting, what you just mentioned, is that you are constantly growing and you are constantly learning so that you can actually fulfill their needs as a coach and as a language teacher. So this is truly like for a celebration. I love the fact that we share this like abundance mindset and growth mindset, and we need to work on ourselves to give more to those we are serving. And I'm absolutely sure that we are on the same path there. If someone would like to work with you or have more information about anything that you do, what is the best way for them to reach out?
Well, of course, LinkedIn. That's why I'm very active there, actually, because of Catherine, because of you. So that's the first place that I use as, a place to share information about me, about my programs, and to educate clients, potential clients in the first place. So LinkedIn, definitely. There's my website, mylanguageavenue.rs, or even my Instagram profile, but LinkedIn is somehow the place I love.
I like that, especially that part.
Yes.
Because you know how I feel about it. It's truly a game changer. And I was watching and reading some of your content, and I have to say that it's very, very high quality, and I can recommend it to everyone who needs your help. As you see, I make
Thank
mistakes.
you.
So who
Thank you. Exactly. We are sharing something very valuable here, and
Yes.
that's the main thing.
That's the main thing, yes. And when I release this fear and embrace the fact that I'm flawsome and I can actually make mistakes, everything starts to unfold. So let's send a lot of love to everyone who is listening today, and actually give them strength and hope that everything will grow and unfold as they wish if we grow from inside. Would you like to say something for the end of this beautiful episode?
Well, definitely. I would just add that since I became a coach, actually, it's in the nature of my work now to ask a lot of questions. But whenever you need help, ask for help. It could be, this internal help. Ask yourself some questions, or ask somebody around you for help, be it with your English or with your business or anything. But asking questions is a very powerful skill, if I can call it a skill that can be extremely helpful.
And that's very valuable, because people might be actually surprised, but whoever I ask for help, I actually got help. So
Exactly.
yeah, don't be afraid to do that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly enjoyed, and I hope you did too.
Thank you, Catherine. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.